Hello everybody, and today we're going to be having a little bit of cheeky fun as we go through and tier list rank the various publishing houses' logos. Now, I have altered this tier list a little bit to more accurately address my sentiment towards some of these logos, starting with a perfect, descending into great, then good, did the assignment, bad, and maybe most importantly of all, why? Though I do want to start this off with one of the publishers I've had the longest history with in my own life, and that would be Tor, to ask a question that could fall into one of these categories on its own, and that would be, why have you changed so much? I found at least 4 or 5 different Tor logos on my own shelf and online that just vary constantly, and it's like Tor can't make up their mind whether they want the rocket ship, the mountain with shield, the mountain with shield and stars. Consistency is important. I want to put that out there. Though, if we're going to go ahead and rank them, I think the rocket ship is fine. It's cute. I'll put it in good. Got a little pew going off on my Murderbot books. That's all right. And then the mountain, when it's on the shield and has the stars, I actually quite like it. I know the stars look a bit cheesy, but I think that's kind of appropriate. They're publishing a bunch of fantasy books, and it adds a little dusting of whimsy in the stars. Who doesn't like that? Why did you remove it? Next up, we have Folio Society, which I think for what they're trying to do, this is actually a really intelligent logo. It's a super fancy, and overall the font choice, the branding lines up with their hyper premium, super expensive book branding quite well. They're trying to be like, oh, we're prestigious. We have that angle to us. If you buy one of our books, it's going to be a point of pride on your shelf angle. And I think they're succeeding in that, not only as a business, but also with their branding and logo. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in great. It doesn't earn perfect for me because it is just a but it's a really nice. Next up, we have one that was actually suggested to me on Twitter, and that's going to be Bloomsbury, which the reason I included it is I actually think this is killer. You have kind of a minimalistic figure pulling back a bow. There's some details here that I think are a lot of fun. It makes me think Venture. It makes me think whimsy. I think this is knocking it out of the park. And it's bold enough to be like, we don't need to put anything in here to tell you who exactly we are. But this logo on itself, once you learn it, once you know it's tied to Bloomsbury, I don't think it's ever going to really leave your mind. So for me, this is going to go top of great. Folio knocked down right away. Then we have Ace. Ace does a lot of like the Dresden books and stuff. I think this is the definition of did the assignment. They have the word ace, it's underlined, an A triangle thing with a sun in it. Like someone clearly was like, oh, I'll put some sun in it, but I'm not really blown away by that. Spectra as well, they have their like rooster, which I think is interesting. They have this curvy S road, and for me, that's going to be as well. Like I see you put a tinkling of flair in there, but for me, I'm left wanting as a fan. Dark Horse, I actually saw someone on Twitter put this as like one of their favorite. I can get that, but for me, the horse in Dark Horse is just looking pretty generic. I think there's more potential with this branding than what this logo has provided. I get playing it safe with a logo, especially with something like Dark Horse. You want to be as recognizable as possible, and you can just put that stallion right there, and people will know who you are. I still feel like there's more to be done, so it's going to go bottom of good for me. Del Rey, I'm a big fan of. I really like this like little tiny, you know, housing publishing house kind of thing going on. I think it's well done. I think it looks really nice on a lot of book spines. And for me, this as well is going to go in great. In fact, it's going to go above Folio as well. Then we have Blackstone, which unfortunately, I very often did not realize that a part of their logo was the actual 2 dots as well. I thought that was part of the cover on the side, and I thought Blackstone was just, that was their logo. But then like a year and a half ago, I finally was looking, I think it was Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and I was like, oh, no, that's the logo. So I think in concept and execution, 2 simple Blackstones, maybe a little too minimalist for me, but you know, I think it's doing its job. I think it's good. I don't think it's exceptional. I think you could do a little bit more. Overall, I'm gonna put it just below Dark Horse. Then we have Saga Press. This having like the chalice looking thing, it's cool. I think it fits in with just about any cover, which is something a lot of these designs have to keep in mind. You have to keep it minimal enough that you're gonna like intrude on the artwork at all. And this is exceptionally good at that, while clearly being a publisher mark, which, as we just saw, sometimes that can be a bit confusing, at least for idiots like me. So I'm gonna break up the two tours and I'm gonna put it right in between there. Then we have Subterranean Press. I quite like Subterranean Presses, mainly because they full on went nightmare face on the S. I don't know why, this is really creepy looking for me. It looks like if the demon from Disenchantment actually became like scary. That's where my head goes. And I think this is also going to go bottom of great. I don't like it as much as the Folio Society one. We have Pegasus books, which this... Okay, if it wasn't the potential of a Pegasus, this would be fine. But if you are Pegasus books, you have so much room to work with in terms of your design, and including a Pegasus in all kinds of ways. And they've done like a classic horse pose. But now the neck looks weirdly long because of the way it's bent or broken. Like when I first saw this, my immediate first thought was someone just falcon punched that Pegasus, and now it looks like its neck is broken. So unfortunately for me, this goes for bad, though I would like to get a second opinion. Kalo, would you mind giving me a second opinion here?
All I see is like a slice of white bread with a horse face on it.
Oh my god, I'm gonna put that in editing. I see it too now. I also understand that some brandings are gonna be a bit more limited, and if that's the case, if you've done exceptionally well within that limit, I'm gonna give you extra bonus points, because I think that's impressive. And Pen and Sword, I think, has done the perfect level of keeping it just Pen and Sword. Like, I couldn't improve on this, because it made a promise with being Pen and Sword. And guess what you get? Pen and Sword. You could probably do something a bit more fantastical, but with also wanting to be a publisher mark. I understand the limits there, but I like it. I'm going top there. Next up, we have Houghton Mifflin Harder and their MA logo. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure if you go to their website and their back catalog or whatever, they're like, these shapes mean this for these reasons. But for me, as someone looking at this, it looks like a preschooler did a shapes assignment. I don't like this. I think it's just why? Why? After looking into it, it appears they also publish educational texts, which I guess justifies it, but kinda still, why? Okay, now we have Harper Collins, who's doing this fire water thing, and once again, potential. HarperCollins, you've done what a lot of other publishers have chosen not to do, which is just pivot away and be like, okay, we're gonna do something just aesthetically that's not related to our name, fire water. Let's bring that in. And that's a great idea. I really think it's a good idea to be like, let's just do fire water. We'll make that our recognized logo. But why would you then make it look like a gas station logo? This is a gas station logo. I don't want to buy books from it. I want to fill up my Kia. Y'all, it gets even worse when you see the story of how this logo came to be, because Harper Torch and the Collins Fountain were on their own great logos. And then when they merged, they just wanted to do something that referenced them both. You could have done something so much better. This fountain is awesome. And that's replaced for Exxon, but Diet? This is just bad for me. It's not why. I get what you were going for. It's just a genuinely I don't like it on my own subjective level execution. I was also sent this one on Twitter, which is apparently a Danish publisher called Glendendal. And I think this is great. It's just yeah, we're gonna be doing a little bird. It works quite well. It is absolutely a publisher mark. There is no way you would mistake it for being anything else. So I think I'm actually gonna put this just the top of good. It's borderline great. It's not quite there, but I do like it. This is another one sent to me on Twitter I just wanted to include because I think it is also really, really good. Like this is the kind of approach that I would want to see HarperCollins do for their fire and water. Something a bit more elegant, a bit more attempting artistic personality, as aside from just like clip art fire, clip art water. So for me, this one is just like, I'm gonna put it in great, almost to just spite this one down here. Hatchet, They're trying to go for the hyper minimalist, but still a big, bold, recognizable H. I really get the intention there. Like, yeah, big old H makes you go, hatchet, understand. I just personally find it to be kind of an ugly H. And I get like the whole removing certain portions of it, but it's just not succeeding for me. So I would say this is a did the assignment. Probably a little bit above ace, just because it's so minimal. I like can't knock it down that much, because it's just like, yeah, we did the here's our but going from one to another, we have Harper Voyager, who has decided to do this elegant curve over their name. It's borderline just did the assignment. There's not really, you can't really put it in bad, because there's just not a whole lot to criticize. It's an elegant shape. Harper Voyager kind of makes me think of a sail, which, all right, and that's fine. Like, I think it's just good. Maybe it's pretty good. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, okay, you're communicating quite a bit actually with very minimal amount. I'll put it right there and just put that rocket ship a little further down, because the rocket ship in concept is cool, but every book I have it on, it's like, Galanx, which, okay, we need to talk about this real quick. They had it perfected. Their original one was this beautiful compass thing you have on screen, which I think would have been perfect. Like, I really, really like this. I'm seeing that less and less, and I think what they've done is they've replaced it with either this VG option with the compass or just the VG without it. And I get name's got to change, logo's got to update, that's fine. But it was so much better. I can't help but be disappointed at these ones. So for me, I'm just gonna say you were perfection. Now you're just doing the assignment, and I'm sorry, you're not doing it great.
I messed up and did like the educational logo for Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, and now we're gonna do like the actual broader one. I'm not sure exactly how they use these logos, but they got to, and one of them's on a dolphin.
We're riding a dolphin, I get it. You know, you're trying to combine things, make it work, that's all right. But I don't like that on any book that it's on. The only reason it's not getting dinged harder is this is not the strongest case of animal abuse on this list, specifically towards dolphins, which we'll get into in a minute. Like, I get what you're going for here, it's just not working for me, but I will put it above hatchets. We also then have headline, which I didn't even know this logo existed until I noticed it on a couple of books I have down there. I see what you're doing. Headline, exclamation point with the H, certainly more than what hatchet's putting into it, but this just looks goofy to me. I don't think it looks good on like a serious book cover. It's like, it's one of those publisher marks that doesn't blend in well. It doesn't just look like an elegant mark from a publisher. It looks like a big old stamp that doesn't really complement whatever it's put with. So for me, I'm actually, for that reason, going to put it in bad, just above the lazy fire water attempt. Then we have Doubleday, which is, no joking, a dolphin with its back broken around an anchor. Kayla, I need you to come take a look at this real quick.
That looks like a weird sorority logo, I'm not gonna lie.
It's just a big old Y, and it makes me...
What did they do to the dolphin?
I don't know. It just makes me think of all the horrible things that are happening to sea life right now. I'm not gonna lie though. It is more artistically elegant than a lot of the other ones here on this list. It makes me the saddest of any of the ones here on this list. And the fact that they tried to like put the D in the anchor up top, it's supposed to be like a, oh, it's a part of the anchor. But the way the art looks, it just looks like someone shoved a D on top of an anchor and it's not working out. This one is also going to go Y with me, because if you want to have like a dolphin playfully swimming around an anchor, don't make it look like it has scoliosis. I think that's, can we agree that's the proper way to handle that situation? Another perfection for the Tolkien estate putting out Tolkien books. It's going to be the top of perfection. It's just J.R.R. Tolkien's very fancy thing. You can't improve on that. It's the brand. It's perfect. It's a great publisher mark. I don't need to say anything more about this. It's just perfect. Here's another one that was sent to me on Twitter when I asked you all about it that I had never heard of. I don't know the story behind Ear One, but this is a good looking publisher mark, and it looks very different than a lot of the rest. It's creative, it's imaginative, it makes me want to go on a whimsical journey in the book that this publisher has put out. I'm gonna put that just above Pen and Sword, and I'm probably gonna research this company a little bit more after I'm done shooting this. Okay, one of the big five is up. Macmillan. It looks like the just generic logos that came out in the 80s, and it seriously needs to be updated. It's still somehow better than that fire and water mess, but for me, this is bad. I don't like Macmillan's at all. I'm not gonna lie, I actually spent a decent amount of time looking into Macmillan's like logos, because like they had to have updated it. This looks so outdated, so there has to be a newer one. Nope, I get it's maybe supposed to be like book curves turning, or maybe it's like waves. I think it's supposed to be book curves, but for me, it's just not happening, and they really need to get someone to go ahead and crank this a little bit to maybe even just have like a fancy M. I would take that as better than this right now. I guess you could argue that's a fancy M, but Mariner books. I have more than a few of these on my shelf, and I really like the simplicity of this. Mariner, you put a ship wheel there and mark. It's kind of like pen and sword for me, where you could do more, possibly, but you've done minimal so well. I feel like if you add much more, it'll end up detracting due to the simplicity's success. Does that make sense, or am I sounding insane? I'm actually gonna put this just above pen and sword because I'm partial to boat stuff and I like boat stuff. Now we have Orbit books, who, yeah, like if you're gonna do an orbit thing, it's a planetary body orbiting another planetary body. Where could I even complain there? But where could I also really compliment it? I find myself kind of struggling with orbits because it is recognizable. It is definitely a publisher mark. I've never seen it really hurt a cover it's on. But if you're gonna be orbit, celestial bodies, solar systems, galaxies, you could do so much interesting stuff with that. Just having this, it feels like a did the assignment. I'll give it top of did the assignment, especially because I'm giving a little bit of extra cherry points for just consistently putting out, due to their art director and team over there, just incredible book covers. Like, oh my God, Orbit has just consistently knocked it out of the fucking park. But the logo itself, it could use a touch up. You guys have a ton of great artists. You've made that very clear. Let one of them redo your logo. Okay, so I'm maybe a bit of a psycho and also Orbit fanboy, so I went ahead and asked Kayla to go ahead and maybe just add something else orbiting over the planets. That is a cool idea, right? And they do a lot of fantasy and science fiction. I feel like the orbiting planets already pretty boldly say, hey, we got some science fiction here, so bam! Now you have a dragon over top as well. And that only took like 5 minutes for Kayla to do, and I think it looks pretty dang good. Do you guys like it more? Do you like it less? Let me know. I really just kind of wanted to put like a fixed your logo thing for someone, and I don't think this is objectively better, but I think it's an interesting take on it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Penguin Random House. This and a couple more of the ones left are probably the ones you've been most waiting for. Penguin is arguably, at least in my opinion, the most recognizable publisher logo that doesn't just directly have the name on it in existence. Like if you see this penguin, you know that is Penguin Random House. It's kind of got a weird sketchy side-eye thing going on. It looks like it just did something terrible in like a subway and is hoping no one notices. It's a very uncomfortable looking penguin, and I love it dearly. Penguin Random House, I have issues with like almost all the big 5 publishers for some stuff they've done, but damn Penguin, it's a good looking penguin. He's also a little thick, and I like me some thick old penguins. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in great. I feel like there could be a better interpretation of this, but it's so recognizable. I feel like changing it now would be a mistake. This is, in my experience talking to friends and stuff, the most recognized publisher logo in existence. Riverhead Books. This is the definition of just did the assignment on a very minimal way. I'll put it between the 2 Golinks ones. It's just like everyone I know who's ever asked to make like a cool R removes the back line. Like that's just what you do, and it's what they did, and they were like, done. And I can't be mad at them for that, but I'm also not gonna give them points. It's the absolute average, right in the middle. Ah, you did it. Simon & Schuster. I love how aggressively this man is walking. It's always how when I've read The Hobbit and Bilbo's going on his adventure, how I imagine he like begrudgingly walks just like, God damn it. I love this man's aggressive walking so much. Maybe, I could be wrong here, the second most recognizable publisher mark. Not sure on that one, way less confident than I am in Penguin. But for me, I like this. If you asked me to make like a person walking with a decent amount of detail a publisher mark. I wouldn't think it's possible without it being really distracting, but they've managed to do it and it become iconic in its own right. So I'll go ahead and give them great. And I'm glad the merger didn't happen, but simultaneously, good logo. Then we have Scribner, which I think I actually do have some on my shelves, but I added this one because someone recommended on Twitter, I think. And this one, yeah, like if you're gonna do something with fire, cool. I think it's good. I'll put it like near the bottom of good. Nothing super exceptional, but it's definitely more than just doing the assignment for me. And now, time to talk about Dragonsteel. Dragonsteel's is cool. I think this is, of like all the logos on here, the one that is most clearly, aside from maybe Dark Horse, just trying to go for like that cool aesthetic, and it's successful. I don't personally think it's great. It's a little too blocky for me personally. If you can't tell from this, I kind of tend to like more elegant and flowy things, and it's a little elegant and some curvy, but it's not super, but it is also on brand for Sanderson, so like I'm not mad about it. And I'm gonna put it just below the Shield Stars Tor one, though if you take away either the Shield or Stars for me, Dragonsteel goes above it, because Tor, why would you do that? And now, my publisher, Wraithmarked. Wraithmarked has come through with this, it's a W, a good old, and I'll give you this, Bryce. For a W, it's a pretty good W. I like the little diamond figures, like, okay, you got some aesthetics there, but your name is Wraithmarked. The potential for all kinds of wraithy publisher marks is through the roof. But we have gone for a good old, I think it's good. I'll give you good, Bryce O'Connor, my head of the company and my publisher. How you doing? I'll give you good. But because of the amount of potential you didn't reach with some spooky wraith stuff, I'm gonna have to leave you in good. And I'll put you just below Dragonsteel. Yeah, that's good. I'm not trying to say it's bad, but it's not great.
All right, I talked to Bryce, and apparently this is some clever reference to something Edgar Allan Poe related. So, all right, Mr. Books, I guess your W is still just good.
All right, let's go through and see if I want to reorganize any of this. I like my perfect. I think that's good. The great. The Del Rey Penguin, because it's so iconic, I'm gonna bring the Penguin above Del Rey. Aesthetically, I do like Del Rey more, but the Penguin is the Penguin. Simon & Schuster, great. Folio Society, elegant, does it, and I'm giving it extra point for just being so on brand. Yeah, I think Subterranean really earned it there. I love this wave. The Bird, great. This is all good. I think for, I'm gonna bring Dark Horse above that Tor Rocket. Like, it's only because I know the Tor Rocket sci-fi, like, it makes sense. It just is weird to me. I don't know why. I've never fully loved it, and when it's so small, it takes looking at it for like more than a second to realize it's a rocket. It's really small. Orbit, I just really want more from, but I do think it's the best of Did the Assignment because they're kind of just getting so much cool free points for being celestial bodies. And the rest of that, I'm feeling pretty good. Galanx really needs to bring back that simple G. It's better. Ace, probably even gonna go below Spectra there. Pegasus, yeah, that it would be good if it didn't look like bread. And yeah, I'm pretty confident in the rest of this. This makes me think of animal abuse, so that just goes to the bottom. I want to go donate money to like a cause for helping save the sea animals. That's my first thought on seeing that. But this has just been my tier ranking of various publisher logos. Let me know yours in the comments down below. I will tweet out this tier list so you all can make your own and send them to me as well. And like and subscribe if you have not already. Check out my books, hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and have a good one, y'all. Peace.